Mark the time, 2:30 in the afternoon. J.J. Watt finally makes his decision he's going to go sign with the Arizona Cardinals, which is a shocker in many ways. And this is breaking news primarily because no one thought it would ever happen. Everyone thought, oh, he's going to go to Pittsburgh. His brothers both play in Pittsburgh. And that would be a great defense, bring him back to those steel curtain years. Or, well, he might go to a better team, like they were saying, a team like the Saints was on one of his things that he would try. That would be so interesting, but no. And then he was moving to go to Green Bay. I said the places he would go to, Pittsburgh, because his brothers both play in Pittsburgh. It makes a lot of sense. Dallas, because he's already in Houston. He was already in Houston. And a shocking one would have been Green Bay, because they need the help. Well, now he decides he's going to go to Arizona, play with Chandler Jones, go play with a young star in Isaiah Simmons, and a young star in Buda Baker. This just shows how much more dangerous this Arizona Cardinals defense will be. Because now you have Chandler Jones coming off one side, J.J. Watt coming off the other side, and then with the rumors going around that Russell Wilson will be traded or won't be traded, or if he is going to get traded here, where he wants to go, and the teams were obviously the Bears, the Raiders, the Saints, and the Cowboys. So for two of those, I'm like, okay, that's reasonable. That deal is very reasonable. But when I look at the Raiders and the Bears, it's like, they do a lot of things well, but I'm not sure the Raiders are a quarterback away. I know the Bears aren't a quarterback away, which again would have been another good landing spot for J.J. Watt, would have been the Bears. But if you're the Cowboys, if obviously J.J. Watt would have came to Dallas, that would have been astronomical. Like, what a breaking news that would be him going to Dallas, just a few hours ahead of Houston. I would have been like, whoa, that is so crazy that he's going to go to the other team in town. Not, I'm going to go to Arizona, play with Chandler Jones, Isaiah Simmons, and Buda Baker. It does raise questions, though, if you are a team like the Arizona Cardinals. Are you considering keeping Pat Pete? If you're considering to keep Patrick Peterson, or if you're not, now there's questions of who's guarding that other side of the field. Because we saw, very little, but we saw, that defense, it's very topsy-turvy. Like, I understand the game against the Bills was not a great game. But that game against the Bills, they got torched the whole game. It was Kyler Murray in that offense that brought them back. And that's the concern. Is their secondary going to be okay if Patrick Peterson leaves? Which I understand he's older. He's an older player. He's not what he once was. But again, there's an old country song. I'm not as good as I once was, but I'm once as good as I ever was. And strangely enough, that's what Pat Peterson is. He might not be what you want him to be, but he's very close to it. Now, he hasn't played the same way since his suspension of a few years ago, but if you look at it, he started to get his legs back a little bit. He started playing better later on in the year. I just think it got to the point that now he needs to transition. Same like Richard Sherman needs to transition to more of a back role. More of a safety role. Maybe not full safety. Maybe a safety that plays a little corner every now and then. Because they could do that. But if they can't seem to do it right now, because now granted, Richard Sherman only played a handful of games. I understand that. Pat Peterson played only about a handful of games. I understand that. But they don't look like there's still a fear because they're still thrown to that side. But I think it's time that it just happens. You gotta make that move of moving to safety or moving to maybe a not as dominant of a corner. Maybe moving to more of a nickel corner or a dime corner. A safety that that does coverages. Who knows? But if you are J.J. Watt, I think you have to be happy at where you're going. You got a young defense. That gives you a lot of time to mentor these guys, and then you still have a good pass rush in Chandler Jones to be alongside you. But what do you guys think? Is J.J. Watt going to the right place? And should Patrick Peterson and Richard Sherman change to a safety role? You decide.